Michael Carnevale is branch manager and financial advisor. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, 400 Southbridge Street in Auburn, Massachusetts, 1-800-657-9126. A member of FINRA SIPC and are not deposits, not insured by FDIC or any governmental agency, not guaranteed by Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank, and subject to risk, may lose value. Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank is not affiliated with Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated. The information contained in this report does not purport to be a complete description of the securities markets or developments referred to in the material. The information has been obtained from sources considered to be reliable, but we do not guarantee that the foregoing material is accurate or complete. Any information is not a complete summary or statement of all available data necessary for making an investment decision and does not constitute a recommendation. Any opinions are those of Michael Carnevale and not necessarily those of RJFS or Raymond James. Expressions of opinion are as of this date and are subject to change without notice.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Richard Morchoe, and this is the Longhorn Report, Conversations with Mike Carnevale, who will keep us up to speed on where things are going or not going. Speaking of not going, how are things this week?
They're not going.
They're not going.
Yeah.
We can leave, no. There's a lot to talk about, but we're in sort of a choppy seas. Would you say that's
I'd say so. I mean, September was a down month. As expected, well, historically, September is the worst month of the year. In 2023, it so far has been the worst month of the year. And the Dow was down 3.5%, and it marks the fourth September in a row where stock prices have fallen.
Okay, now we're not really discussing this month, but how is October starting off?
Continuing the same as September ended, kind of negative. A lot of unsettling news items out there that for some reason or another people or the market have latched onto, won't let go.
Won't let go of the fact that oil keeps going up in price.
Starting to go down now, but up certainly.
Well, we've had a day of
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Close
I
to
latch
90.
on to that type of thing.
Yeah.
Every time I head in, I remember when I'm old enough to remember when you went into a gas station, a smiling guy came out, put the nozzle in your tank, and then cleaned your windshield. Now I put
And gave you the set of 6 glasses.
Yeah, well, I think you get them one at a time. Or
Okay.
something, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. That
Yeah.
was it was in another century.
Got to go to New Jersey to get that.
Yeah, and I'm rushing down.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you go in, you pump your own gas,
Correct.
buddy, and then you watch the price go up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, people are latching on to that.
Yeah.
Just call me a latcher.
Elisha. Okay.
All right. So let's see what happened in September. Down 3.5% as expected. Fourth negative September in a row.
Correct.
Well, at least it's a streak.
Mm-hmm.
September ranks as the worst month, last 3 down, prior 3 up.
Correct.
Okay. Year to date, everything about the year, we're up 1%.
Mm-hmm. For the Dow. But, most people are not in the Dow. They're in, like,
No.
the S&P. And
Yeah.
So they're doing a little bit better than that.
Up 12. Okay.
But, kind of says how things have gone.
Not everybody's in the NASDAQ.
Correct.
Though. That's up 27
Correct.
for the cool kids.
Mm-hmm.
Bonds are up 4.71. Should we be worried about these increases in the bonds and 13-week Treasury really up at 5.32%?
They're definitely going up. And I think they're probably going up more than a lot of people had hoped they would. Some of that is what the Fed has been saying, that, they're going to raise them again maybe a couple of more times. But if you look at the Fed funds futures market, right?
I look at that every minute of the day.
Well, you know, if you're in a job where you're forced to look at it every day,
Whether you
I
want
guess
to or
you look at it every day. And I mean, according to the futures market, the rate hikes are all done. November 1 is the next Fed meeting, and the odds of a rate hike there are at 68%. Now it's down from like 95% 2 weeks ago, but it's still not indicating that there's going to be more rate hikes. You know, all these regional Fed presidents are out there talking about, well, you know, there may be a need for another rate hike or two, and they may be saying that to get rates up without actually having to raise them. You know, they can influence rates. They can get what they want, either by talking about it or doing something. And it seems to me they're talking about it rather than going to be doing about it, because you know, if the bond people felt that that was going to be the case, rate hikes, you'd be seeing that in the pricing in the futures market, and you're not seeing that. Now, that doesn't mean it can't change overnight, because it could, but it hasn't happened yet. So, you know.
As raising rates as supposedly an antidote to inflation, though,
Right.
with what's going on in the market with prices continuing to rise, why isn't that factored in as a motive for raising the rate at least another quarter?
Well, a lot of the like consumer prices and producer prices, a lot of that increase is in energy, and most Fed people or economists look at the core number and core producer price or core consumer prices, which take out food and energy, because they're the most volatile items. And the Fed really has no control. Fed policy is really a long-term policy. So in order to make that policy, they have to subtract the most volatile stuff. Because food and energy can, as fast as it goes up, we've seen it with energy, right? Went up over $100 a barrel, and it was down to, well, it was a time they had to give it away, right? It was negative.
I don't remember them giving it.
Well, we're talking the futures market.
I mean, I go in and to my local convenience place. I say, "You giving away yet?"
Right. Well, the futures market on energy was negative there for a while.
I understand what you're
So
saying.
the Fed subtracts all that out.
It was not me they were giving it away to.
Correct. But so they factor that stuff out. So until, you know, everyone has their own opinion, right? But I would say until the futures market shows that that's the case, it's probably not going to happen. A lot of people thought September they were going to raise the rate, and you did not see that in the futures market. And lo and behold, they didn't raise it. Now that they're all coming out there talking over the last 3 or 4 days that, oh, well, inflation still is not where we want it to be, so we may have to raise rates, hike them 1 or 2 more times. And today was the first time a Fed president came out and said, well, they think it's all done. And this is the Mary Daly in San Francisco. She said, well, I kind of think probably we're done raising rates. So
Do you have any, you think that's probably not going to happen?
I'd look myself, I mean, I would only look at like these numbers, and Fed futures is saying no, so I would say they're probably done raising rates.
Okay, everybody at home, we've heard it. It's
October 5th, 68% chance, no rate hike. I'm going to timestamp that so that when I'm wrong, you can refer back to that. Well, he was right on that day. But yeah, no, I mean, too often people take stuff like, emotional, right? Oh, well, I'm not doing this because I think this is going to happen. What do you base it on? Well, I got a feeling that, and if you look at, let's see, futures market. What are those people predicting? Because supposedly, those people should be smarter than me. They're saying no, So I guess I got to go with them. I mean, they're closest to it.
We're not going to argue with you. I think you made your point logically, and we'll see how it happens.
Yeah.
Okay, technicals. Short-term sentiment getting better.
Correct.
The 200-day NYSE New York Stock Exchange moving average is now 44% versus 58 a month ago.
Right, and if it gets under 40, that would be a very positive sign.
That would mean everybody's just going to rush out and buy.
Should rush out and buy. Right.
Volatility 18 versus 13 last month.
That's good. It hasn't been that high in a year or so.
Okay.
A lot of fear coming back in, which is good.
Oh, I've always said, yeah, when people are afraid, it's a great societally, it's wonderful.
Yep.
But anyway, okay, now stochastic oscillator.
Yep. That's another one getting very close to, fair value is between a rating of 20 and 80. A month ago it was at 64. The market has really dropped. It's now down to 25. That goes under 20. That would be another positive indicator. So all these, we're in fear and greed index. You want to see extreme fear in the market, right? Because people get afraid when things have dropped. Mm-hmm. We're at under 25 would be the trigger point.
Does that mean they've got out of the market and now they're going to get back in?
That means they've got out and they're not getting back in. And when do they get out? No one gets out at the top. They get out after it's dropped. Oh, I've lost so much money, I'm getting out. Just at the exact time they should be getting in. And that's what all these technical indicators try to track. And so that fear and greed index under 25 would be considered extreme fear. And it ended the month of September at 29. So you see where September historically is the worst month of the year. All these technical indicators magically are lining up to saying, hey, the next 3 months, odds on, going to be okay.
The moon is in his 7th house, and Jupiter aligns with Mars.
But we have another indicator, much more important, coming up that.
Oh yes, the science. We're going to the science now.
Yep, and that will reconfirm all these other indicators.
I will let you explicate that to the masses.
At the appropriate time or now?
This is the time.
Yes. Well,
we want to do it at the inappropriate time, so right now.
Okay, most inappropriate time, that'd be now, the Red Sox.
Yeah, and that makes more sense than any of the others.
What a race we had in the final 2 weeks of September. Who was going to finish in last place? And as usual, right, the swan song for the Red Sox came in on key, and the Yankees did just enough. They weren't great, but they did just enough to allow the Red Sox to finish in last place in the American League East.
Thank heaven.
And that is really important.
It's extremely important, and I'm going to let you explain.
Well, since we began, the Major Leagues began divisional play in 1969, right? Red Sox have finished in last place in the American League East 7 times. In the prior 6 times, the following year, the Dow was up 5 of those 6 times, for an average gain of 12%. The one year it didn't happen, it wasn't bad. The market dropped 2%.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Take that money out of the mattress, because we've just had the perfect indicator. You'll throw it into the market, you are going to get rich this time.
But don't do it just yet.
Not just yet.
You got to wait till November 1st.
Right.
Because that tags into the other Wall Street saying of sell in May, go away, come back on Halloween Day.
Of course, we don't stand behind anything we say. If you lose your shirt,
that's up to you.
It's all yours.
We've at least provided some entertainment.
Yes. And science.
And science, yes. But yeah, like 98% of all stock market gains occur from November 1 to the end of April.
Throw that money in.
And with about 3.5 weeks left to go, we're almost right on target because the Dow has done almost nothing since April, the end of April.
In the last few days, it's done something.
It has. It's gone down.
Yes.
Which has made that May to October look pretty good right now.
when he's not doing this science, he's doing the poetry.
Yeah.
There you
Yes.
go.
Yeah. Or a mystic in the back of the parking lot.
Next month, we went on Amazon and we bought a crystal ball, and that will be here next month.
Correct. Correct.
All right.
So that's,
Now the major news.
if you even need that, right? You may not need that after.
We're leaving now. No. All right. The Fed held rates the last meeting
Yep.
at 5.5%.
Mm-hmm.
Futures markets say that is it for the year.
Right.
We're not going to do any more rate hikes.
It
And we
doesn't appear.
discussed that earlier in
Correct.
the show. Next, on November 1st, 86% chance of no hike.
Yeah, it's down to 68 now.
It's down to 68 chance. Well, you see, it's going down.
It is, but it's still, it's like 68% no chance. There's like a 10%
will it be?
chance of a cut, and then the rest is a rate hike.
We're behind you
So
all the way,
it's,
Mike.
Likely not going to happen.
Interest rates of other countries, we have the Bank of Canada, the Bank of England, no
Yep.
changes. But, they kind of follow America a little bit.
Yeah.
European Central Bank hiked. Turkey, we're number one,
Another big rate hike.
hiked to 30%.
Mhm.
Well, that's only 5% up from 25. Well,
Yep.
5 points up from 25. But that's an amazing statistic that they have been, for years, really inflating forever.
Yeah.
And how do they keep it going? Well, maybe we should send some people over study that, and maybe that's something we should do.
I think
I don't think
I put that in there just for
Laugh.
a laugh. I mean,
Okay.
nobody cares about turkey, except on Thanksgiving. And sometimes the day after. But other than that, there's not a lot of interest in what Turkey does economically.
If anybody at the Turkish consulate, you want to take that up with Mike Carnevale, not me. I did not say that. All right. Okay, national debt at 33 trillion. Those Turks, no, that's our national
That's
debt.
our national
Oh,
debt,
okay, got
33
it.
trillion.
33 trillion national debt.
Mm-hmm.
Highest ever. Up 50% since 2019.
Yeah.
We're mostly blaming it on what we blame everything on,
COVID. Correct.
So what does a $33 trillion national debt mean?
Doesn't mean anything unless somebody doesn't want to buy our bonds.
And people still love our bonds.
Still love them.
And
So as
okay.
long as that happens, your personal debt level is meaningless to you if there's somebody who bails you out all the time, right? Let's say you have a lot of debt, right? But you have a friendly neighbor who says, "I heard you're in debt, huh? Yeah. What do you need? 33 trillion. Oh yeah, okay, here it is. Doesn't really bother you, right?
I have it in a can under the faucet there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's when the neighbor doesn't come and buy.
All right, now, let me ask you this now, because I know there's an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Who are our friendly neighbors?
China.
China.
Yeah.
Oh, China, that's the country we keep calling a stiff.
Yep.
And threaten to kick butt over Taiwan.
Yeah, but
Wow.
But there's
That's the friendly neighbor you get money. And shut up, you
Yeah.
friendly neighbor.
but they
Just give me the money.
but there's nothing they can do about it.
Why is there nothing they can do about it?
We're their biggest market.
That is a real big reason. So, kind of the circle here.
They need us. They
What do
probably
we-
need us as much as we need them.
What are we buying from them?
Everything.
And what are they buying for us? Bonds.
Yes.
Which position would you rather be in?
Oh, I think either one. Because if they lose our market, they're going to be down, and they're not going to buy our bonds, and we're going to be down. So it's all just talk,
Until they land on Taiwan,
If they do.
if they do. And we're all hoping they don't, but I do wish we would kind of shut up about it and just sell them the bonds and buy the stuff without the rhetoric.
Well, ideally, it would be good to find a way not have to buy their products, but that's a whole
And they're
nother
probably saying
economic.
it'd be good to find a way not to buy their bonds.
No, I think they want to buy our bonds because they want a safe place to make investments.
You
And
think this is a safe place? If we're making absolutely nothing.
The U.S. debt is the safest anyway. It is the safest, and it's also the biggest, right? They couldn't, if they lost us, where they're going to? They can't go to Europe. It's not big enough.
Well, why can't they? If they lose us, why can't they just say, we have to buy their bonds back? We do have to do that. So why, one day they just say, buy them back. Go ahead, don't buy our stuff. Let's see you make new stuff.
Yeah, they would. Well, they wouldn't get back the face value of their bonds.
But it would be sort of a suicide, a Russian
For both
roulette.
countries. For both countries.
Yeah. Okay, so we basically have each other in an
There's a
embrace.
vested interest in both. Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't make wonderful sense to me, but I'll accept it. All right, Novo Nordisk passing LVMH. What is that? LVMH. What does the initials stand for?
Oh, you'd have to know French, I guess. I don't know. I know, but I'm not gonna. I've made enough mistakes. So I'm not gonna even try to pronounce.
Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
Louis Vuitton. Yeah. Merci.
Okay.
Je connais Louis Vuitton.
You and Deion Sanders.
And me and Deion Sanders. And soon we will sing the Marseillaise and we will charge.
But
okay,
on the heels of these weight-reducing drugs, they have become Europe's biggest company.
Novo Nordisk.
Yeah.
But they're not worldwide. What's the biggest
No.
country worldwide?
I think it fluctuated between Apple and
Apple.
Microsoft.
And I don't think it's Microsoft. I think pretty sure it's Apple.
It's probably Apple now, yeah.
All right. Now oil is over $90 a barrel.
Yeah.
It's a little down for the past few days, but
Yeah.
it's still up there at 90. Okay. That they don't want to keep putting the core inflation. I would understand that. All right. Let's go to the economy. What do you think?
Yeah.
We need something else to.
Nothing really has changed. The rate of increase for inflation is,
It's up.
yeah, it's very slightly. And
whoa,
the rate of increase is a lot lower than it was a
rate
year
of
ago.
increase, when the rate of increase gets slower, even if it's slightly, everybody does that victory dance.
Right.
But then when it goes up a little, only slightly.
Yeah, I mean, in comparison to where it was a year ago, it's moving in the right direction. Leading economic indicators getting closer to zero, which maybe we'll be alive to actually see it go positive again. It's been negative for 17 months in a row. That's usually a very bad indicator
Oh yeah,
for the
usually
economy.
it's 3 months ago in a row we declare.
Right.
But we don't declare recessions anymore.
I guess not at 17.
No. When I was 17,
But
inflation was.
but there are other indicators that contradict that leading economic indicator, like jobless claims and the non-farm payroll growth. So until those two kind of move up, you keep prolonging this official recession type talk. Jobless claims, they're around 200,000. History shows it doesn't really hurt the economy until they're 250,000 or higher. In the last 4 weeks, it's averaged 211,000. So although leading economic indicators have really been bad for a very long time, it hasn't shown up in any of the other indicators yet, mainly jobless claims or the employment report. Job creation is like 33 months. 32 months in a row. So the positive spin there is, 32 months of job gains. The negative spin on there is, but they're low-paying jobs. Well, yeah, they were never all high-paying jobs to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's this economic data, right? And then it's how the two sides want to spin it.
Isn't it always?
It is. And it's, you got, in the course of the day, you talk to a lot of people, right? Half say, oh, well, yeah, but they're all low-paying jobs, and we can thank, Joe for that. And then the other side comes in and says, oh boy, yeah, no, 32 months in a row, that's a positive. So it gets to the point where you tune out both sides, which is what I do. I mean, I tune out both sides.
But your job is to listen to them and hear them.
You can listen without
Hearing. If you've ever had kids, you know that.
Right. So I mean, it's all like, and it's okay. Forget about spinning it one way or the other. Just look at what is it. What's the number today? Compare that to the number yesterday. Compare that to the number a year ago, and end it. As opposed to trying to spin it. Well, this is low quality. Oh, so you're assuming then that in the past they were all high quality jobs that were created.
And it's probably not likely.
No.
But there is probably a situation that you can tell if you could have the percentage of, a little higher, percentage of high-paying jobs that are on offer, mid-level paying jobs, and lower. That would be more of a. If you could figure that out, that would be a more pertinent statistic.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
yeah, but not having it is kind of camouflage.
but you're comparing the same things. If you look at the employment to population ratio, right? That has consistently gone down.
Which ratio?
Employment to population ratio. And it's just the fact you need less people to produce the same amount of stuff. I mean, it's through efficiencies, automation, and so well, yeah, but the employment to population ratio was over 70%, in the 1990s. Yeah, it's never going to get there ever again for a lot of reasons.
So
right?
when it goes down to 40%, what do you do?
You hope
you
hope the efficiency is enough to overcome that, where you don't need 70%.
Well, what does the great percentage of people who are now out of work, what do they do?
Well, hopefully the efficiencies are able to that are gained from less people working can support them. You can put so you're saying, well, then you could say, yeah, there's a way of getting the employment to population ratio at 100%. Just reduce everybody's wage. I don't think that's going to help anybody.
That's a theory
right.
that I don't think is really been proven.
I don't think it would work. You'd be very inefficient.
And no, it should probably suggest that exactly.
And it's going to get with this artificial intelligence stuff going on, the ratio is going to go lower and lower. It's in the mid 60s now. It had been in the low 70s.
We're talking today with a representative of the Ted Kaczynski party.
No, it's just going to continue to get lower. So somebody could look at that and say, "Oh, see, things are really bad." No, they're not. It's just we've become much more efficient. You need less workers.
Yeah, and what I'm asking you, what those people who don't have a job now do?
Oh, that I don't know. But you could look at the efficiency ratio in China. It's a lot higher than ours. They're not in as good a shape as we are. Their worker is not in as good a shape as we are. So, I think it's like everybody's looking at, trying to spin all this stuff, and they're making their long-term investment decisions, right, based on these short-term indicators. And in the end, what has happened? A lot of people have wasted a lot of time that they can't get back. you know? And that's really the, you know, in the end, that's really the, you know, kind of the sad point about it all. You know, people are so wrapped up in like, you know, oh, did you see this? You know, it doesn't matter if you saw it or you didn't. You know,
I understand your point.
Yeah.
I understand.
and that's the that's
for you know, if you're a person who has a job, you want to have a retirement plan.
sure.
You want to have it in probably something indexed.
Yeah.
And you want to forget about it, not forget about it maybe, but know moving in and out is probably not a great idea.
Correct.
You want to know that.
Right.
But still, there's a mass of people who don't want to be superfluous in the job market because they need to, even if they have a retirement, they need to work.
Right.
So when that ratio and we just have people, what do we have? What are the people, the surplus people going to do? What do they do in this brave new world?
I think they'll do what prior generations have done, right?
What have they done?
They'll retrain to do something else. Right? I mean,
A lot of people don't. They just go. We have a statistic of people who are no longer looking for work.
right.
And it's a big, big group of people.
It is, yeah.
Millions of them.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, and you're not wrong what you're saying, but this eventually does become a societal problem. But that will be next month, ladies and gentlemen. Mike will be back, and he will have thought this all out, and he will just smash me up against the wall. This is Richard Morchoe saying thank you for being on the Long Hill Report Conversations with.